Yep, it's time. Do I really need to go into the whole I couldn't have done it without you guys routine? I'll skip that for your sanity. So by the time this goes up on the channel, we'll be at 20k subscribers. I still remember making my 5k Q&A like it was yesterday, and it's crazy the growth we've had on the channel since then. Especially lately, you guys have been killing it, and it's pushed me to try posting more often lately, so hopefully you guys have been enjoying that. Alright, but with that done, let's get into your questions. There were so many that I've had to cut it down a little bit, so if your question wasn't answered, then I'm sorry about that, but some were duplicates that I've already answered before in the Q&A, and others I simply won't have time to answer. With all the rest of these questions, there's over 100 questions here, but let's get right into it. Alright, honour of the first question goes to VTok, if that's how you say your name. How do you make Bastet strong? Well, I think to make Bastet actually successful, especially at high level, she needs an ultimate rework. Like, it was pretty simple. I think the rest of her kit is pretty fine in terms of, like, she jumps in and bursts one or two people down and gets herself out with, like, the double pounds and things like that, but I think her ultimate at a high level just is not very successful past about 15 minutes. Like, you'll throw the cats down on, like, a Scylla or something, she will 2 on the ground, and the cats will die instantly, and if you try and buff the cat's health to stop that, it just becomes really frustrating for, like, enemy players to deal with cats just like 3v1ing them, basically, and you can't do anything about it. So I think some kind of rework to Bastet's ultimate. I have no idea what you should actually do for it, but I think something like that is what she needs. And what ping is acceptable for playing in ranked? I think it really depends on, like, what you're comfortable playing with. For me, personally, I'm not going to go into ranked with a ping over 100, because that kind of affects me and affects my play a lot, but it really does depend on how much ping you're comfortable playing with. Nuke Catch Manda asks, can you do a face reveal? No. Alvin asks, what accent do you have? It sounds fascinating. I wouldn't call it fascinating, it's just your standard English Yorkshire accent. It's very northern, so I do get a lot of questions about this, because like most like English people you hear, especially on like online and stuff, are like southerners, but it's a quite northern accent. It's probably quite a lot different to a lot of the like American YouTubers and stuff that other people watch, so I can see why it might be kind of fascinating, I guess, to you guys. Ionut Max, once again, I'm not going to be able to pronounce half these names, so don't bully me about it, please. What gods do you think need a rework? Obviously, I think Bastet's ultimate needs a rework, as I've mentioned before. Possibly Jing Chen ultimate as well. I think that's just like, it's either trash or really OP, and it's just kind of frustrating. And in terms of a full kit rework, I think I would just have Arachne reworked, mostly because I really just dislike her. She's like just a feast or famine type of god, like she either just dominates or feeds. And I think that's kind of a problem, so I will probably rework Arachne, mostly because I hate her, like, personally. What do I think of the current state of Smite? I think Smite's really good right now. It's definitely improved over the last, like, few years, like, sort of, if you look back at Season 3 and 4 Smite, comparing it to Season 5 and 6, it's so much better. Like, you can look back on, like, Season 1 and 2 and Beta and whatever with, like, nostalgia on some things that were better, but I think overall the game has improved. Nali Shuan, at some point I might stop trying to pronounce your guys' names because this is just going to be complete bullying in the comment section, I just know it. Cats or dogs, and what pets do you have? Thanks. I don't have any pets. I like both, but if I had to pick between them, probably I'd say cats, but certain breeds of dog, like a lot of the big breeds of dog, are really cool, I think. Ryan Kearns, 9? Is that how you say? I don't fucking know how you say your names, alright? Which 2 gods would you pick to back you up in a street fight? Just King Arthur. Come on, he can 1v10 a street gang with just Gladiator's Shield, that's all I need. Gabriel Tuparov asks, if you could delete 2 gods from the game, which ones would they be and why? Arachne and Hell. I really just hate both of them. I've explained why I hate Arachne before, and Hell is just like, I don't know, man. Hell just really pisses me off, especially when I try and lane against her in solo and it's just impossible to kill her and she just sits there healing. Like, it's really frustrating. I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but I really do not like Hell. Isaac Clark asks, how many times have you been killed by an Xbox player already? Never. Xbox players are noobs. I'm sorry, it had to be done. And P.S. Who's your least favourite god in the game right now? Obviously, Arachne, as I've mentioned before. Blazonfire asks, what inspired you to start making content and what inspires you to keep making it? And congrats on 20k. Well, thanks. What inspires me to keep creating content is mostly you guys, honestly, and a lot of seeing other creators and how they're doing things and how successful they can be. Like, if you look at the growth of Math's channel, it was like a channel like almost as small as mine, like about maybe not 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, and now he's up at like almost 60k subscribers. Like, his growth has been insane, and that really inspires me thinking I can get that kind of growth as well, because obviously the Smite community is still open to new creators, and you can grow a lot in this community. August Henriksen asks, what games do you play other than Smite? I play a lot of Hearthstone on and off. Like, I don't play it constantly as much as I'll play Smite, but I play like a little bit at least every expansion of Hearthstone. A lot of Bethesda games like Fallout 4, Fallout 76 a little bit when that came out, Fallout 3, Elder Scrolls 5. I haven't actually played Oblivion, but I'm probably looking to maybe play that at some point, just as a kind of look back, you know what I mean? I just like RPGs in general a lot, like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, all those kind of games. I also played a lot of Rust back in the day on Steam. I have like about 800 hours on Rust, but I haven't played that in years. And I'm studying computer systems engineering at university right now. Varun Venk asks, describe yourself in as much detail as possible. I like Erlangshen. Brad Weeb asks, do you teach? I have a teacher that sounds exactly bloody like you. Oh yeah, you're that Brad kid that always sits at the back of the class being an absolute pain in my ass, aren't you? No, I'm just kidding, I have no fucking idea who you are. I hope I didn't scare you. Sean Paulie Rice, probably fucking butchered that. When are you thinking of doing a face reveal? Ufel asks, who were your first Diamond rank 10 god? I'm pretty sure my first rank 10 was Artemis, though it may have been Nemesis, but I think it was Artemis. Either way, I mained Arena with both those two gods back in the day and got a bunch of pentakills with them, so that's why I have them like so many worshippers. Cross-Eye Smite asks, in your opinion, what are the hardest and easiest lanes to learn? Also, congrats. Well, thank you. I'd say the easiest role would probably be ADC followed by solo, because for the most part, those roles are kind of left alone. Not so much this season with ADC, but I think ADC is slightly easier than solo because it's a lot less matchup dependent. Like in solo, if you don't know your matchup and you're in a bad matchup, it's really hard to actually do anything. And in terms of the hardest role, I think that would definitely be jungle, just because there's the most to learn. Danielle Vince asks, what is the purpose/role of jumping in Smite? There's meant to be no purpose, but I know in the past of Smite you could jump over Mercury ults and jump over Janus portals and stuff like that, which was kind of funny, but I believe they've patched most of that out. And are there any car related topics you like to talk about, or do you consider yourself as a car guy? I'm definitely not a car guy, really. I look at cars sometimes, but I'm not really into like sort of the nitty-gritty with cars. Which god, male or female, has the best butt? It has to be Kumba. Come on. Mr. Squash asks, which character in Smite would you love to smash? No homo, though. Has to be Kumba. Deist asks, do you think Smite should have more items? I think I would like a few more items in Smite, because I think having that sort of complexity and differential in builds and stuff like that is really good, but I think there is a breaking point where you have too many items and sort of it becomes really hard for new players to get in when there's like 25 different items they could choose for this one slot, if you know what I mean. So I think there's a certain point where you don't want to add more items, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think adding a couple more would be really nice. Sean Polly Rice again asks, condom size, ? Smiley face. 1 second. Back in a sec. Is that alright for you? Okram X Gaming asks, what made you want to play solo lane? PS, your videos are great. Well, thank you again. I've always loved tanky characters in like all games I play, and it's the same for Smite. Solo fits the warrior, sort of like in-your-face tanky playstyle the best, so that's the role I kind of gravitated to. Lego Kangaroo asks, what god needs a remodel? I think personally Cupid needs a remodel. Like, it's fun to have him be this baby that isn't really taken very seriously, but I think Cupid with a remodel could definitely be a little bit more of a serious god. And also, who is the thickest god? Obviously Terra. Do you even need to ask that question? Felix Fens asks, what's the worst injury you've ever had? So I've had a broken wrist and a broken knee before, but those probably wouldn't be as bad as when I cracked my skull open, which is actually kind of a funny story. So I was in high school, which I was around 12 or 13, because I know the American school system uses like grades or whatever, not years, but year 8, year 9. Actually, yeah, I believe it was year 9 that this happened, so probably about 14 years old, right? And I had this friend who was, it was kind of pissing me off. We were in, like, his form room, which is, like, you know, just a classroom that everyone hung out in. And I think he'd been kind of pissing me off all day. We were kind of having this little war, right? It was more like a friendly thing. And I think he stole my bag at one point, my school bag with all my books in and everything. And I kind of just, like, I don't know why I did this, but I just kind of went to, like, sort of rugby charge him into a wall. And my head goes, like, straight under his armpit, and then straight into the wall before he actually hits the wall. So my head takes the brunt of the impact, smashes straight into a wall, and end up cracking my skull open, and I'm bleeding everywhere, right? And then I have to be fucking airlifted to hospital by the school nurse and everything. That didn't actually happen, but any of my friends watching this, you'll know that inside joke. But yeah, that was probably my worst injury, cracking my skull open, but as I mentioned, I've also broke my knee and my wrist before as well. Sly Guy asks, are you doing live streams? If yes, can subs play with you? So I don't stream right now, but I am thinking about it, and if you do want to play some games with me and my friends and stuff, join the Discord. Like, we often host like in-houses and stuff where we do 5v5s, like randomized teams, or just play some casuals, so if you ever do want to like play with me, just join the Discord and hit me up. Alpha T10 asks, pick one god each to rework, remove, buff, and nerf. So, rework Bastet, just her ultimate probably. Remove Arachne, because I hate that bitch. Buff Arthur, because XD. And nerf Bakasura, because I also hate that bitch. Order asks, what was your first video with Smite? So it was this really bad, cringy montage. I'll play a clip for you after this one if you want, because it was technically my first video, but it was really, really, really bad. But I'll play you a clip of it. My first real video was the top 5 most OP gods video, like the first one where I used voice and actually put a lot of effort into it.
Bring in the master.
Andrew Guerrero, I think, asks, how do you feel about the new yet old MMR system? Do you think it accurately represents skill? So I don't think any skill rating system in a game could ever accurately represent skill, but I think it's a decent representation as of right now. Nitro Warrior asks, do you approve my skin concept of Kim Jong-un? Absolutely. Who was your first ever main and why? So Artemis in Arena farming Pentas was probably my main, as I've mentioned before, and also a lot of Nemesis as well. In terms of why, I have no idea. They did a lot of damage and it was easy to farm Pentas in Arena. That's probably why, honestly. Artorius, the Abyss Walker. Very ominous name there. Here's my 100% original question. Pokemon, yay or nay? If yay, which one's your favourite? Yeah, of course I love Pokemon. Favourite is hard to determine though. I think I really like Torterra's design in terms of like that having like that massive tree on top of his shell and stuff. I think that's really cool. In terms of power level, has to be Primal Groudon, right? I'm pretty sure that's the universally accepted best Pokemon in the game for like competitive. And for the meme factor, it would definitely be Wobbuffet with Shadow Tag. Ian Hussey asks, Loki reworks, what would you change? I wouldn't rework Loki, I kind of like him as he is. I think he's like sort of a almost gateway to new players. Like it's good to teach them that they can't just like run into things with no actives up because Loki will one-shot them, and it teaches players actually kind of good habits, I think. Like, I'm gonna get shit for this because, like, all the new players just despise Loki. I think Loki's honestly fine. As long as they keep him sort of in line as they have been doing. Like, apparently his win rate got above 50% and they just nuked him from orbit in, like, the Season 6 patch, so as long as they keep doing that sort of stuff and keep him on, like, the lower tiers, like, as long as Loki's, like, B or B plus tier, it's fine. If Loki ever gets to be S tier, then yeah, definitely do something about it. Taylor Medina asks, what's your key config? I feel like I always see your abilities set to A or W, how does that work? So for me, I move with WASD, and I have my 1 on Q, my 2 on A, my 3 on R, and my ultimate on spacebar. Everything else is just default. I think it's just a little more accessible to have my abilities on Q, E, R, and space instead of 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I have to like move my fingers more. And it's really just what I've got used to. I don't think it's really any like significantly better than going 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just what I've got used to over the years. Nix Kalas asks, when did you start playing Smite? Did you start when it was in closed beta? No, I started playing in late open beta around January 2014 at Geb's release, a little bit before the start of Season 1. God of Odyssey asks, are you going to play Borderlands 3 or any other games on the channel? I likely will play Borderlands 3, but I don't know if I'm going to be uploading any of it to the channel or not. Tokumatsu Etria, I'm not going to bother with that. Have you considered covering other games you like or are well versed in? Yeah, I have considered it, but Smite is what most people are here for, as I built my channel on Smite. And it's what I enjoy making content for the most, and it's definitely the game I'm the best at in terms of like overall skill level. So I think as long as it's going well for me, which it is right now, I think I'm going to keep doing Smite on the channel, but I may post other games like every now and then. TitanKiller401 asks, do you really think Susanoo is truly as brain dead as people say? No, I don't think Susanoo's really that brain dead. He's annoying, but he's not a brain dead god. Like, Bakasura is way more brain dead than Susanoo. Extreme Guy 5678 asks, hello, I'm so happy for you hitting 20k and you're the person who got me back into Smite and even still playing it. Well, that's great, man. I'm glad I could bring some people back to the game. That's crazy. Who is your favourite god right now? Definitely King Arthur. Once again, I'm probably going to get shit for that because he's OP and all this shit, but I really like King Arthur. How long have you been playing Smite for? I've been playing Smite a little over 5 years, as I've mentioned before. I started in early 2014. Will you do videos on other games? If yes, specify. Once again, I think I just answered this a few questions ago. And finally, will you do a face reveal? Ascended Degenerate asks, how haven't you died of boredom as a solo main? Outside looking into solo, it may seem a bit boring, but I think the variety in matchups, and it's really skill dependent across different matchups, and you can get a big lead if you're very good at solo, is really rewarding to me. Though I think there could be a little bit more to do in solo compared to like some of the roles like jungle and support that have so much to do. Condanan Mattia asks, have you considered streaming from Twitch or YouTube? As I've mentioned, I have considered streaming, and if I was going to, I would probably stream from YouTube just because that's where my audience is, and it's kind of a pain to like go over to Twitch to find me and stuff. I think I'll probably just stream on YouTube Gaming if I was going to do that. Why isn't Kumbhakana the best god in Smite? Societal fat phobia keeping him down, probably. Hashtag Kumba for body positivity, boys. Adrian Fire asks, what rank are you in Conquest? Currently I'm Diamond 3 in Conquest, but it is quite early in the split. I'm kind of hoping to grind to Masters this split, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it or not. But yeah, I'm still on the grind given how early it is in the split, especially as of recording this video. It's on the 8th, so we're only a few days into the split at this point. Diana, Juggernaut for Life, asks, why did you choose to play and make videos on Smite and not, for example, League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm? Simple, Smite is the most enjoyable out of those games for me. I don't really care too much about its popularity compared to like League of Legends or anything. If I cared about the popularity of the game I was covering, I'd be a Fortnite Epic Moments channel, not a Smite channel. Hulk Hogan asks, when did you start playing Smite? I've answered that before. I've been playing since like the late closed beta in 2014. Did I prefer the game when I started to what we have now in terms of like graphics and gameplay and stuff? Obviously, the graphics are better now, I think. A lot of people are sort of disappointed with the sort of fantasy style they've gone with since Season 5 with the Conquest map, but I actually quite like it, honestly. In terms of gameplay, some things have improved, some things haven't improved, I think, but overall, I think it's generally improved as a whole over like the 6 years. 6 years? 5 years that I've been playing. And what's your thoughts on Smite's shitty game design as far as god balancing and releases? So this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I don't really care that much about balance, and it's a lesser concern. As long as the unbalanced gods that are like S+ tier change frequently, and it's not always the same gods that are on top of the meta, I think it's actually fine. And OP release gods are a thing everywhere, like they're always going to be OP on release, otherwise they're never going to get anyone to play them. Like, Hi-Rez have their reasons for it, and I'm sure they're justified. Jimmy Johnson asks, what video are you most proud of? Probably my top 10 favourite gods video, actually. It's not really that popular, I think it's only got about 20k views as of recording, but it was really well made, and I think I explained my thoughts quite well on sort of why I like the gods that I do. So, that will probably be my favourite video. No idea what that name is, asks, what do you feel about Loki right now and his nerf? So I think Loki is fine. As I've mentioned before, if he ever gets over a 50% win rate, he just gets nuked from orbit by Hi-Rez because they don't want him to ever be a good god, which I can see why. Mighty Dust Noir asks, looking back, what is your favourite rant video as of now? I think it would have to be the Baron rant. You can't stop the suck, boy. Smitty asks, any suggestions on how to start a Smite YouTube channel? Okay, so I've got this one a little bit scripted on the side here because I wanted to cover a bunch of different stuff, so I'm probably not going to be looking around, I'm just going to be reading here. So I think you need to find a niche and play to your strengths in terms of creating a channel. So like Mythimu, for example, got like huge off of his personality and being funny. Most of his videos are just compilations of really average Smite gameplay, but his personality and his interactions with friends and stuff kind of carries the video and makes them really worth a watch. Whereas I, on the other hand, have the personality of a soggy potato, but make videos on really interesting and well-researched topics. In other words, the contents of my videos is what makes them successful, not me as a person. Mythimu is the complete opposite of that. I know he doesn't cover Smite anymore, but it was the best example I could find for this sort of stuff. A lot of pros or just good players like Weekend, Incon, Mass, Sexy Rexy, even DM attract people because they want to watch people that are good at the game. It's all about finding something you can do better than everyone else or something no one's even doing in the first place. And also, you have to commit to it. You're never going to get anywhere if you upload 2 videos, then quit for 6 months and try to come back. So I hope that helps you out, man. Thanks for the question. Arthur Smith asks, do you remember old Uncle Arthur? Of course I do. You're an OG, my man. You've been here since like under 1,000 subscribers, I believe. Khalid Amin asks, how long have you played Smite? I've answered this one before, about 5 years or so, a little bit longer. Kaspar's Grach, not gonna bother. Pancakes or waffles? I think I will go with pancakes all the way. Both are really great though. Hello D Room asks, who are your best Smite gods for duel? I don't know enough about duel to really comment on the duel meta. I would probably give you bad advice. You should probably go looking for like duel specific YouTubers about that stuff. Are you going to play any other games instead of Smite? I've answered this one before. Do you support PewDiePie? Of course. Do a video where you build a gold with just stacks. Is that even possible? What, you could go like Doom Orb, Warlock Sash, Book of Thoth, Hide of the Urchin, Gauntlet of Thebes. Is there a 6 stacking item you could go? There probably is, yeah, it's probably doable with that, but that sounds like utter just AIDS, so I'm not going to do that. Can we play with or against you sometimes? As I mentioned before, join the Discord if you want to play some games with us. We're always looking for people to get in for in-houses or just casuals and stuff, so join the Discord, linked below. And of course, subscribe to Pews and Inters3ct, of course. Axe Joking Lyric asks, where are you from and what got you into Smite? So I'm from England, and a couple of my friends got me into Smite back in the day in high school. This is a quote, you gotta get this game for the boobs, my man. That is what they said to me, and I'm still friends with them today, and I still play Smite with them. Miniac asks, what's your favourite lane and heroes they bring? So solo lane, best lane, and my favourite solo lane right now is definitely Arthur. Okay asks, will you show feet? Never. Hypervenom71 asks, how did you discover Smite? So I've answered this one before, I probably shouldn't have included this, but yeah, as I mentioned, my friends got me into Smite. Exist Logic asks, favourite chip flavour? So I assume you mean chip as in the American thing, and which would be crisps in the UK, probably roast chicken flavour. Ragnarok asks, how old are you, XD? I'm 20 right now. What god is the most gay? Chiron in Daddy Skin, 100%. Infernus3 asks, who was your first subscriber? I don't actually know who my first subscriber was, but it was probably an IRL friend that I kind of let in on the channel before I publicised it all. Ethan asks, why does Daddy hit Mummy? Because she put too much ketchup on his sandwich, of course. Saisarath DV, no idea if that's how you pronounce that. The best skin in the game, and doesn't matter which god. So I think my favourite skin right now would probably be Golden Touch Baron Samdi. I've made a video on this fairly recently, a couple of months ago, so you can check that out if you want more information. Ultra Instinct Hippie asks, does Agni have 2 penises because he has 2 heads? It's confirmed, I've checked. Razor912 Plays asks, why haven't you given up on Smite yet? Because it's still fun for me and the channel's doing better than ever. I see no reason to quit Smite, honestly. 2Dino689 asks, do you believe in any religion? You don't have to answer this, but just don't do a face reveal. Well, shit. But yeah, I'm not religious in any way. Black asks, when can we expect feet? So this one's from Discord, and there'll be a few other from Discord as well that have sort of been getting priority, so if you do want to join the Discord, obviously, link will be down below. In terms of feet, there will be a new Patreon tier going live after this video. $1,000 for feet. Intersect Delphine is on the scene, boys. Burning Noodles asks, here's a legit question, what is your opinion on hunters in Smite? So I fucking hate hunters. I suck at all of them and they just annihilate me somehow and I just fucking hate them. Fuck hunters. Shadowfall asks, if you could buff or nerf one weapon, which would it be and why? So I assume you mean item, not weapon, but I'd probably buff Rangda's Mask just a little bit. As it is right now, like, you take so much damage just to deal a little bit more, and I think it would need a buff to be more of a, like, legit meta item. Black Hearts asks, which Joust map was better? The one now with the Bull Demon, or the one just before when you had 3 buffs on each side? So nostalgia makes me pick old Joust, but I think Bull Demon was a very cool addition. I think, like, somehow adding Bull Demon into old Joust would be very cool. Joseph asks, what games have you played when you were young or before Smite? So lots of Pokemon, Skyrim, Hearthstone, and also some Call of Duty back in the day when I was younger. Shadowfall asks again, kind of an obvious question, but what's your favourite role? Solo lane all the way, boys. Barely Andrej asks, do you think all the skins should be directly purchasable? That would be great, wouldn't it, if all skins were directly purchasable, but it's never going to happen. Locking skins behind chests and bundles and exclusives is way too profitable for high-res. I don't think they're ever going to change that. It's just a sad reality. Lil Plump asks, girth or length? Always girth. There's a reason they call me the Hammerhead. Dad of Boy asks, is this the best YouTube channel ever? This is a Discord server, not a YouTube channel. Diddle asks, will we post other games, maybe to a second channel? I've answered this before a lot of times, so I'm not going to answer it again. And when will you make merch? Probably never. Jaxing Lex asks, what are the benefits of joining this awesome Discord server? Immortality, I believe, is one of the major benefits, so you get that, and then some even say you'll demote to Bronze 5 in Smite as soon as you join, so big benefit there. Peach but Jacob asks, can you fucking carry me, mom? Easy carry, no problem, no problem. If you were to bring back one item, what would it be and why? If you don't say Fatalis, you have gay. No, Fatalis sucks ass, get it the fuck out of here, I don't ever want to see that item again. I'd probably bring back Season 2 Runeforged Hammer with the physical protection converting to power passive, that was really fucking cool. Shadowfall again asks, what was your favourite meta? Season 2 release Bellona tank meta. I know everyone's going to hate me for that, but that was my favourite meta. Mocha asks, if you could revert any god to its best state, referring to the time when a god was at its best, who would it be? It would probably be Erlangshen with the cripple on his pin and the full speed turtle. That would be really fun to use. Jacarbus asks, if you could give any god an execute, which god would it be? Probably Bacchus. His ultimate's basically an execute anyway, so you may as well just go all the way with it. Arthur Smith, from a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is Bacchus? Definitely a 9.8. Wajar asks, who is your favourite trap? Definitely Genderman Thanatos, 100%. Very Long Name asks, which gods did you diamond and in what order if you can recall? So here's a list of all my diamond gods, I'll put them on the screen as of right now. I have no idea what order really though. I think Artemis was my first, Nemesis my second, after that I have no fucking clue. Jinxie asks, what team do you support in the SPL? Congrats on 20k, thank you. And the team I support in the SPL right now will probably be Pittsburgh Knights. They're EU, of course, and they're probably my favourite team right now. Wajar again asks, are you planning on doing a face reveal, and if yes, when? Arthur Smith again asks, what's your favourite song? I have 2 songs and I can never really choose which one I like more, it kind of depends on the day and the mood that I'm in. Black Morning by Yawn and The Raven Child by Avantasia. Lil Yambo asks, here's a legit question. What was going through your head while coming up with that uber cool name Inters3ct, and how can I get a sexy British accent? I was going to go with Incest Gaming, but changed it at the last minute because I thought YouTube might strike my channel down. And come to Brexit land and I'll teach you, mate. Rain Spooky asks, do you believe that it's better to deep throw or just regularly lick the tops? Always deep throw, what are you, a pussy or something? How old are you and how long did it take you to grow your channel? So as I've mentioned, I'm 20 and my channel sort of took off properly in mid-2017. Before that I didn't really post too much, so it's been almost 2 years since I properly started pushing with the channel. The Fox Without Pants, congrats on the near 20k man, and yes I'm assuming your gender. Fuck you, never assume a person's gender, you absolute bigot. Now for the questions, what's your favourite god and role to play? Solo lane, King Arthur. What game mode do you think should go / you dislike the most? If we had to trash a game mode, personally I would probably go with Clash. It makes more sense for them to get rid of Siege, but personally I like Siege a lot more than Clash, so I'll probably go with that. How would you describe your experience on the YouTube Smite community so far? So I've not really interacted with the Smite community all that much, which I think is kind of sad. I think like a lot of other communities have a lot of like collaboration and sort of like helping each other out with different channels and stuff. There's not too much of that in the Smite community, and I'd like to see more of it, honestly. How hard was it to finally reach the 20k dream goal? Yes, I got very hard when I reached 20k. And what's your least favourite part of making Smite content? I think probably getting gameplay for gods that I don't really like. Like, for the Cabrakan video that I've released recently, it was just a fucking pain getting Cabrakan gameplay. I had to play about 4 different games because Cabrakan's bad and I'm bad at Cabrakan. So yeah, probably that. AA11 asks, who was your first penta with? Probably Artemis or maybe Nemesis in Arena, but I can't actually remember. Who in Smite gives you an erection other than Retro Bacchus? Making an Arachne go 0-10 gives me an erection if that counts. What other games do you like and play on the channel, and will we expect to see any other games on the channel? Already answered this one before. If you do want to see some like different games on the channel and stuff, just leave them down in the comments. Nerd? It's only fair to call you a nerd because you also call me a nerd at the end of all your videos. Good to know someone respects the outro. Golden Snowman asks, how do you edit your videos? Because I really like your style. Well, thanks. I use Premiere Pro to edit, Plays to record my gameplay, and Audacity to record voiceovers, and I use OBS sometimes as well. Castiadial90 asks, can you do a face reveal? No. Joshua Pena asks, answer this maybe? No. Who Yeet asks, what god do you play the best/worst with? I play a really mean Erlang Shen. I'd say in terms of like overall raw skill on the god, Erlang's probably my best god right now. And I'm really bad at Chernobog, probably because I just never play him. Marvel Future Fight Tips and Tricks asks, what was your favourite Smite item? So if we're counting historical items, Season 2 Runeforged Hammer for sure, and if we're just talking about present day, probably Gladiator Shield. Glitchy Q asks, what mechanic would you either change or remove from Smite? I'd remove diminishing returns so I can stunlock people for 10 seconds straight. Nah, I'm kidding. I don't know actually, I've never really thought about this question too much. Jexing Lex asks, out of all the gods, who would give the best anal? Definitely Jormungandr, assuming it goes all the way in, of course. Marito asks, how much time do you spend on every video in terms of writing, recording, and editing? And congratulations on the great content. Well, thank you again. It does depend massively on the type of video, really, for how long it takes. Guides take the longest for sure because they're like fully scripted and researched, and a lot of them are very heavily edited. Whereas discussions about the game, news videos, and rants are just me talking and they aren't edited too much. If I had to put a number of hours, like on average, I'd say probably about 3 hours per video, all things considered. Black asks, you're in the SPL, your jungler can't make it? Black or DM Brandon? So you mean Plat 5 or BM Brandon? I'll take the Plat 5. Novus asks, why didn't they make Najar the first gender bend? Because Thanatos gives the deadliest handjobs, obviously gender bend material. Alright, so that's all the questions I had. As I've said before, sorry if I didn't answer your question, but hopefully someone else has asked something similar and you got your answer. Once again, massive thank you to everyone who supported the channel over the years, and it's just been really insane. I will catch you guys in another video, so have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.